Previously, we've looked at creating lists, both ordered and unordered. We've also looked at how to style an unordered list. Well, now I want to show you how to style an ordered list. And just as there's some extra properties in working with ordered list over an unordered list, there's some extra things that you can do and some extra property values that we can assign to an ordered list. If I go to our code, you can see our list right here. There's an OR list with 3 list items. I also have commented out several list items, as you can see here, and this is a nested list, and we're going to see this example in just a minute. Now, when we work on a list and we want to style it, once again, we're going to use our CSS. And just like when we styled an unordered list, by default, we'll put in an OL as our selector. That way, we know that we're styling the ordered list. Our list style type is, once again, one of the most common things that we can modify. Of course, we can modify things like our padding and margins, colors and background colors, and font sizes, and all those types of things as well. But we want to look at things that are specific to the list itself. Now, you can see here a large list of items, and some of these are incorporating things like a square and a circle, which is for unordered list. But we also have traditional items that we can pick for a ordered list. By default, we get decimal, but we could also do a decimal leading 0. And if I reload this, you'll notice that I have leading zeros in front of them. Now, this is not really required. Lists by default are right justified. That way we can see each item and we can count up and they're organized. But we can do leading zeros if we need to. You'll also see that we have things like uppercase, lowercase letters, Roman numerals, etc. I'm going to pick an uppercase Roman numeral just so we can see how that's going to look, because that's going to be something a little bit different. Notice that when I switch back to my browser and reload, you'll see Roman numerals 1, 2, and 3. Now, of course, the logical question is going to be, well, what about items 4, 5, and 6? Are they going to follow the correct Roman numeral styling? And just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to duplicate this a few times. Now you can see I have a large number of these. I'm going to go back to my page, reload it, and you'll notice now that I have not only 1, 2, and 3 Roman numerals, but I have 4, 5, and 6, they're correct, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and you'll notice it keeps going. So the browser's very aware of how Roman numerals are supposed to look, and it doesn't just continue to add Roman numeral I's, it's going to use the V's, X's, and so on throughout the rest of your list. So you have a lot of proper control with how this is going to be viewed. One common question that I get is, what happens if I were to use the start attribute like we saw before with Roman numerals? So once again, I'll start with item 4 and notice that it starts correctly, right as you would expect. So it's just a matter of displaying and how does it want to be displayed. Notice it's not actually changing anything. You don't have to put in those values, so it makes our life very simple. Now the question comes also into the, what happens if I want to have my nested list? So I've commented out my old ordered list and uncommented my nested one. When I reload, you notice that all of my ordered lists start with the Roman numeral 1. You might say, well, why is that? It's not following the regular expectations that you would have. Well, yes and no. If we come down to our CSS, you'll notice that the ordered list and all the list items underneath it are going to use the uppercase Roman numeral system. It doesn't matter, it doesn't look for what happens if I'm nested. So I'm going to come over here real quick and say OL, OL. And this is now a nesting and is only going to find ordered lists that are under another ordered list or nested underneath it. List style type, and now I'm going to choose upper alpha. And the upper alpha is just going to be capitals A, B, C, etc. When I select that, you'll notice that my subpoints are now capital A, B, and C. And this is following the same methodology of what you would expect if you had, for example, a term paper and you write an outline for that paper. Now notice that my subpoints, those where I've nested 3 layers deep, these are still capital A, B, and C. You might say, well, why is that? Well, we didn't say, hey, go use this long, complicated methodology. We said just if you're an order list who is also under another order list. And that's what that subpoint is. It's a child of the subpoint. So if we switch over here, we can get more specific by using multiple selectors. OL, OL, OL. Now, if I'm an order list of an order list of an order list, I can come in here, list style type, and I will choose decimal. If I reload that, it now looks just as you expect with a term paper. If I was to have subpoints or more layers deep, I would just simply need to define additional ordered list in my selector. If I hover over this, you'll see my specificity and it becomes a lot clearer. If I'm creating something like this, I like to go ahead and list out all of my cases. That way I don't have any missing ones or get surprised later on. Now, do I normally lay this out? No, I don't. It's just a matter of in case I need to and I'm using this specific type of situation. I can create any level or number of levels that I need with ordered, unordered, or even combinations as necessary to get the right style for my list items. And that's how I'm going to style the CSS for my order list.